Hi there, it's Anne of Rosie Duck Designs here. Thanks ever so much for joining me today. On my last video, I did say that I would be back to share some ideas with you from the Country Lane suite. However, a few days ago, I found out I needed a congratulations card for this weekend. So I thought I would share that with you. Now, normally I do have a here's one I made earlier to show you what the finished card should look like. In this instance, I've just literally got the one card and I'm going to attempt to put it together on camera. So as you know with me, anything can happen. We also have the director in the house who's looking a little bit bored. So I'm hoping he stays that way. We can live in hope. So my card today is going to feature the Tropical Escape Designer Series paper. Now this is a 6x6 set of papers, and they feature the colours of Blushing Bride, Shaded Spruce, and my particular favourite, Granny Green Apple. There's, as you would expect from the name, there's lots of tropical designs. There are, however, some plain or plainer papers that you can use if you're not looking for something really bold for a particular project. There's also some really nice black and white designs. So something for everybody in there. And I'm using that paper in conjunction with two stamp sets. The first one being the fabulous Flamingo, because basically I want the flamingo from that set. And I'm also using the stamp set that coordinates with that paper, and that's the Tropical Chic stamp set. And I'm also using the Thinlit dies that coordinates with that stamp set. So I'm attempting to put two cards together so that the finished card will be sort of like that. If it works, we won't know till the end. So my front, I'm using Granny Green Apple. As usual, I've cut that at 8x6, scored at 4, and then folded to make the card base. This is a piece of the Designer Series paper, and to get that hole in the middle, the oval in the middle, I've used the largest die from the Layering Ovals Framelit set. So there's, if you've not seen this before, this is a brilliant set because you've got all sorts of different sizes, and as we go along you'll see that I've used a number of different dies to cut out different pieces of card to use to put my sentiments on. I think that one goes there. I've said this before, these magnetic sheets are brilliant to keep your dies in one place. Very cheap to buy off of Amazon, so just Google that if you've not come across them before. So put that back up there. Now on this, I've taken a piece of white cardstock and I've stamped the flamingo from here onto a piece of white cardstock. Now this is a 4-step stamp, and to get that I've actually used the Stamparatus. Now I'm not going to do that while I'm making this card because I need to give this to somebody tomorrow, so I don't really want to get my inky fingers all over it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the card together, and then I'm going to come back and then just share with you how the Stamparatus works with regard to using if you've got more than a single stamp to use, so a 2-step stamp, 4-step stamp, etc. So the colours I've used on here are Blushing Bride, Flirty Flamingo, and I've also used Memento Black. Now I want the flamingo to fit within that oval, so it's not an exact science, it's a case of getting the flamingo where you want him. So I want his head showing, and I also want one of the leaves from the Tropical Chic. It's actually the Thinlit I've used. So I've used this Thinlit to cut these leaves out. I haven't bothered stamping it, I've just cut it out from the card. Now I've got a piece of leaf here, so what I'm trying to do is extend that leaf so it sort of looks like it's coming down from that printed leaf. So I think what I need to do, and I'm sort of thinking on my feet, so to speak, because I've not had a chance to make this prior to filming. So I'm putting some snail all over the back, because I want the back of this to stick to my base card anyway. But I also need to get this flamingo where I want it. So I'm thinking I need his head. You're not going to get all the flamingo in. So I think that works. I've cut off some of the base of the leaf because it's too much leaf otherwise. Now that's looking good. So I'm now going to put that there. Yeah, I think that will work. I'm just going to reinforce the back with some snail. Now because I want this to last, because I'm giving it to somebody as a special card, I have gone a bit over the top with my snail, but I'd rather have too much than not enough. So I'm just going to place that on the centre, centralise it rather. That's the first bit of the card done. I've got some embellishments to put on here, but I'm not going to do that until the end. So moving on to the middle bit, I'm taking another piece of the Tropical Escape DSP. All my pieces of paper are cut at 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. I'm just going to stick that onto my card. Again, I'm being generous with my snail. Centralise that. And now I want to add a sentiment to this. So I've cut these out using the layering ovals. So I've got Granny Green Apple, Blushing Bride and Whisper White. And my first sentiment is going to be That Was Awesome, which is from here. And so I'm going to stamp that in Blushing Bride onto the white oval. I always like to check that a stamp is stamping correctly before I make a commitment. Put that there. Put that. I'm going to clean my stamp off because I really don't want any ink to get where it shouldn't. Again, I'm using the new chamois product that is now available, and it's a brilliant tool for me because it means I'm less likely to make some mess. So basically I'm laying these up, getting some snail, and I'm just centralising those so we've got some layers of colour. And we've got that, and I'm just going to then stick the whole thing onto this piece of this bit of the card, and just in the centre. So there's nothing too technical about this. Now I'm going with another piece of the Tropical Escape Design Series paper, and that's going to go on here. I'll just run out of snow. Unlike me, I have come prepared with a refill because I know this isn't necessarily going to last through this project. So I want it that way up, and I'm going to stick that, I'm going to try and get it level with the other one. Seems like quite a good idea. There we go. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to lay up another 3 ovals so that for my sentiment. This time I'm using the Shaded Spruce, Blushing Bride, and again Whisper White, because the ink of the Blushing Bride actually comes up better on the white. I tried it on the pink, but it got a bit lost in it. Now this one, I'm using this stamp, Tickled Pink, for you. Stick that in the middle. Put that up there to save time, but at least it's out of my way. So again, I'm just layering these up. I will put a list of all the products that I've used at the front of the video as usual, so you can see the code number and the cost of each of them. I'll also put a link to my online shop. So again, I'm going to put that in the middle, trying to get it somewhere near the other one so they sort of match. Yeah, that's okay. So that's basically my first card. It's not completely finished, I've got something for the front, but generally that is the first card. Now I want to then stick the second card to this one, so I'm going to make this one up first. Put that somewhere safe. So there's nothing to go on this front because that's going to be sticking to the other one. I've got another piece of design series paper here, so you just from this project you can see how many different designs that you've got in that paper, and it's still sort of quite summery. With this lovely weather, why not use it? So I'm now centralising that again. Now with this one I want to actually say congratulations, so I've cut a piece of Whisper White, and that was 4 by 3, and I've just rounded off the corners using this trio punch. So I've used that element of the punch just to round those corners off, just to make it look a bit more pretty, but it's not necessary. So what I'm going to do, taking this stamp, which is from the Tropical Chic stamp set. Now this isn't photopolymer, it's a red rubber clear mount. So as I've said before, to make sure this sticks nice and firmly onto your block, just use a piece of a little bit of lip salve. I'm going to put one of those in the corner. And then I'm going to put congratulations from, again, the fabulous Flamingo set use that for a while, so just make sure that's okay. And I'm going to put that across the middle, or just slightly above the middle, I think. I think if I keep them over there, that will be safe. No surprise that I'm going to just pretty that up with a bit of Wink of Stella. And I'm just trying to take in the leaves, or the petals, sorry. Rather than, you see you've got some white here that's highlighting the petals, and I don't want to necessarily get the Wink of Stella onto that and smudge the pink on it. What I want and what might happen are two different things, but that's what I'm attempting. Probably won't pick it up because of the lighting, but there is a layer of shimmer going on that flower just to lift it from the paper. It's the hardest one because it's got 3 bits of white in it. So it's scary when you get to the last bit and everything else has gone right, and you're kind of sitting here thinking it's all going to go wrong. Again. So that's, as I say, you probably won't see it, but there is a nice layer of glitter or glimmer on there. That away. Now I'm going to just put some snail on the back. That has run out now. Okay. Somebody put a note on the calendar today. I was a little bit more organised. Won't last though, will it? Right, so I'm going to put that in the middle of that piece of paper. And then I've got this piece that I've already pre-stamped. Now I've got the matching flower here with some Wink of Stella, and I've got here with Much Love, and I've got that from this stamp, which, as you can see, says with much love and thanks. Now I just wanted the with much love, and I've achieved that by using this stamp in conjunction with my Stamparatus, and I'll be back to show you how I did that, or hopefully how I did that. So I'm going to now stick that to the back there. So this is the bit where I'm going to write the message eventually. So I've just spotted looks like a cat's hair. There you go. That's gone. So that's the second card. Now I just want to finish that back off because that looks a bit plain. I want to just put that on the back to just finish the card off nicely. So again, another piece of the Tropical Escape paper. Probably better to put it that way up. It looks like there's more going upwards, so just looks slightly better. Right, so that's my second card. It's actually finished. Now the idea is that the two are going to be stuck together, and I think I'm going to do that with some double-sided tape. And I've got to be honest, I'm going to do that off of camera, so I'm going to stop filming just for a minute because it's a little bit difficult sometimes to get it to stick together, and when you're filming sometimes it goes wrong, as we all know. So I'm going to do that off camera, so I'm going to stop filming and I will be back shortly. So I'm back and I'm pleased to say they have successfully been stuck together. I just knew, knowing how all fingers and thumbs that I am, it would probably go horribly wrong, and I haven't got the time to do this again for tomorrow. So basically what I did was the front of the pink card, I used this double-sided tape. Now this came from a craft shop, and if you can see, it's a nice big thick piece of tape, and I've literally put 3 pieces down on the front of the pink card, and then what I did was I then opened it up and then took the bits of the cover off, and then I gently lined it up, the green card up with the pink card. I hope this is making sense. And then just carefully watching where it was going down, I then stuck it together. The problem with double-sided tape is you only get one go at it, but I'm actually quite pleased with that. I've gone with double-sided tape because I think it just is got that much more firmness, that obviously this card is hopefully going to get looked at and admired even, let's hope so, that I don't want it falling apart after the first day. So that's basically the card. Now just to add a little bit of interest to the front, I'm just going to add one of the leaves, and because that's going to be hidden, I'm just going to use some snail, and I've just used an odd piece of paper there, or card. So I'm just going to have him that coming up like that, and then I've stamped using this stamp, Blushing Bride onto white cardstock. There's some Wink of Stella on the petals. I'm just going to then apply that to the front using a stamping dimensional. So that's going to cover the stickiness of the snail. And what that does is that then ties that into the designs I've used at the back on the second card and then onto the back of the card. So that is my completed card. And all I want to do is actually put a little band around that. So I've cut a piece of Blushing Bride, and it was 12 by 1 inch, and I just basically folded that around the card loosely, so there's room to get the card out again. And I'm just going to stick that down with some snail. Again, I'm being generous because I don't want it to fall apart. I'm going to stick some on this bit as well. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of detail onto that. And I'm going with a different, I'm going to pick out the shaded spruce on this one. And I think I'm just going to have one leaf and one little flower. I might go for 2. I might go for 2 actually. Yeah, So I'm going to actually put that together off camera because you don't necessarily need to see me do that. I'm just going to trim the bottoms of the leaves so I haven't got too much card underneath this little flower. So I will be sticking the leaves onto the collar basically, and then I'm going to be putting that in the middle. So I'm going to end it there, and I'll show you the end result when I come back, but I'll also be back to show you how I did the flamingo and how I use this stamp to get the With Much Love. I'll be back to show you how I did that with the Stamparatus. So the director's still asleep, so that's good. Got through a whole video. I must be that boring, but never mind. I will be back very soon. Thanks ever so much. Bye.